Jalen Brunson has just cemented himself as one of the all-time Knicks, and the Knicks are linked to an NBA sharpshooter. All that and much more on the Knicks Digest. So let's get right into today's video. So Woj earlier today dropped a Woj bomb. New York Knicks star Jalen Brunson has agreed on a 4-year, $156.5 million extension, his agent Sam Rose of CAA tells ESPN. $113 million less guaranteed than he's eligible to receive in 1 year. Now, Jalen Brunson taking the pay cut, this is really big news as far as being able to develop an actual roster flexibility. So now the Knicks are in position to actually, if there's a player coming up that's going to be disgruntled, he wants to get out. And as far as the breakdown of the contract, it's very interesting because you break the extension down by the season. So in the 2025-2026 season, he's going to be receiving about $34 million. The following season would be $37 million. And then in 2027, 2028, he's going to be receiving $40 million. And then in the 2028, 2029 season, which he has a player option, he would be receiving $43 million. But if you compare that to if Brunson actually waited until 2025, so the first season of the extension, the 2025-2026 season, instead of receiving $34 million, he'd be receiving $46 million. The following season, 2026-2027, instead of receiving $37 million, he would have been receiving $50 million. The 2027-2028 season, he's going to be receiving $40 million with this extension. And if he waited until 2025, he would have been receiving $53 million. And then in the 2028-2029 season, instead of receiving $43 million with this contract extension, he would have been receiving $57 million. And if Brunson waited until 2025, it could have equated to $269.1 million instead of the $156.5 million that he just signed. So just by the numbers themselves, I guess you could get a good feeling that Jalen Brunson is trying to keep this team together as long as he can, trying to give management as much flexibility as possible to get other players. And with the Mikal Bridges trade, it's pretty safe to say that the Knicks organization, Leon Rose and Worldwide West, they're putting all of their chips into the team that they have right now. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy. Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson specifically, I'm looking at them too. Something else that we got to take into consideration, I feel like in every season, like I said earlier in the video, there's that player that becomes disgruntled with his team and then they want out. But then there's also buyout players. The free agency technically is not over. There's still players out there. They might not be the caliber of players that fans are used to, that fans know, but there still are decent players out there. And obviously, during the season, there's going to be a bunch of buyout players on the market as well. So now with this Jalen Brunson contract, we're going to have the flexibility to see what's out there in the market, to see what we're going to need. And up until this moment, the backup center position is still a big glaring hole. And I haven't really heard anything about it. The only thing I've heard is a rumored trade between Detroit Pistons and the Knicks, where we would get Jalen Duren, but Mitchell Robinson would more than likely be a part of that trade. So if Mitchell Robinson is a part of that trade and we get Jalen Duren as our starting big, that's great. But then we're still going to have the same problem. Who's going to be the backup center? But Jalen Brunson taking this pay cut is super unprecedented. You hear from players all the time in interviews that if the money's in front of you, you're going to take it. I hate to bring this up, but Carmelo Anthony, man, there was that interview that he did with Stephen A. Smith where Carmelo Anthony was actually supposed to be part of the Miami Heat Big Three. It was supposed to be LeBron, D. Wade, and Melo, but Melo kind of messed everything up when Denver offered him that contract extension in the middle of the season. It was right before he got traded to the Knicks. He signed the contract extension, and then he forced his way to the Knicks, and we know how Melo's legacy ended. His career ended. I hate to poo-poo on Melo, man, and I don't read the comments, but you guys probably might be killing me in the comments saying that I'm hating on Carmelo Anthony all the time. But there's levels to this. And with this deal, it keeps the Knicks out of the second apron level. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly details of the second apron. I just know that when you're very close or when you have reached the second apron, it really ties your ability to trade, ability to sign players and use draft picks. So Jalen Brunson's deal, which keeps us away from the second apron, is only going to pay dividends in the future. But all in all, man, I mean, Jalen Brunson just proving to us Knicks fans that he's willing to do whatever it takes to win a championship. And in other news, the Knicks are linked to an NBA sharpshooter, and that sharpshooter I'm talking about is Gary Trent Jr. So earlier today, there was a report put out. Gary Trent Jr. is expected to pick between the 76ers and the New York Knicks. Trent Jr. and his agents at Clutch Sports are looking for a 1-year deal. The only thing I know is that he is looked at as a really good shooter, three-point shooter specifically. So if we take a look at his stats for last season, he played in 71 games, 13.7 points, 2.6 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 42.6% from the field, 39.3% from three-point land, and converted 77% of his free throws. Now, Gary Trent Jr. able to space the floor. It'll give more space for Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson specifically to do what they do. And right now, if we take a look at our bench is kind of depleted. The only players that I know we got Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, we got Jericho Sims. The Precious Achiuwa situation is still out there. We don't know if we're going to re-sign him. So we do need a little bit of an offensive boost. So Gary Trent Jr. being able to come into the game and space the floor, hit threes. I've seen a little bit of his game. He's able to put the ball on the floor, creating plays for himself, and definitely not others. He definitely can't create for others, but creating plays for himself, it's not horrible, but if anything, I should definitely hit up Ben because he's been with the Raptors for so long. But in today's NBA landscape, I mean, the biggest thing that you definitely need shooters out there on the floor. And again, like I keep harping on, Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, even though they like to mix up their game, they're not perimeter-based players. They like to mix it up. They like to go to the rack. They like to get the fouls called. They like to get their points at the free throws. But if you have somebody out there in the perimeter, like a Dante DiVincenzo, like a Gary Trent Jr., who's respectable from the three-point land, you're going to have to respect it. There's not going to be any sagging off. There's going to give more room for Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle to do what they do. Personally, I'm still a little worried about the big man hole that we have in our roster. I mean, hopefully, man, you guys know how I feel about Precious. I'm not a huge fan of Precious, so hopefully it doesn't come down to him. And I've also been seeing Jericho Sims in the lab really working on his games, fadeaways, pull-up jumpers, like mid-range shots. And it's kind of weird, though, because like I love seeing that from him, working on his game, putting in the hours. But is Coach Tibbs going to give him the opportunity? And if Coach Tibbs does give him the opportunity, is he going to be able to come through and actually show it when the lights are on the brightest during the games? If Jericho Sims can make another leap, he has all the ability in the world. This guy can jump out of the gym. This guy could probably touch the top of the backboard. So if you're able to complement his athleticism with some skills, then we can see Jericho Sims take a really big leap. But as far as right now, in this moment, that's all hypothetical. We don't know if Coach Tibbs is going to give him those minutes in the season. And we don't know if Coach Tibbs is going to be okay with seeing Jericho Sims taking those shots. But right now, we still have a problem of our backup big and, of course, Mitchell Robinson. We don't know what Mitchell Robinson season we're going to get. If we're going to get a 60-game season out of Mitchell Robinson, 50, 40, or 31 games like this past season. So we gotta wait and see. But guys, that's it for today's video. I want to say thank you for checking it out. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about Jalen Brunson's contract decision, giving the Knicks organization more opportunity to make moves, make trades, make signing players. And also leave it in the comments and let me know what you think about this Gary Trent Jr. being linked to the Knicks. You like it? Are you whatever about it? Or are you kind of like, let's do it? But until next time, guys, you know the drill. You know the vibes. Taj Gibson for president. Jalen Brunson, man, after this contract decision that he made, Jalen Brunson for president alongside Taj Gibson. You know what? Jalen Brunson for president, Taj Gibson for vice president. The deuce is loose. Mikal Bridges for the 2024-2025 Defensive Player of the Year. But until next time, guys, I'll check you out in the next video. Peace.